Students walking through the lobby of the Holland building at Dixie State University are pausing to look at a display of clothing items similar to what victims were wearing when they were sexually assaulted.
We want to bring attention to the fact that it's not what you wear. It's always on the perpetrator. It's never on the victim. So I think seeing these clothing and seeing the different displays helps people connect that maybe I wear sweats, or I wear my baseball jersey, or my leggings when I go to work out. So it could be any of us in these clothing items. It's not something provocative or attention drawing. It's just regular people that have these experiences that are not their fault.
Stories attached to each item explain what led up to the crimes.
This exhibit shows this does happen to all kinds of folks at all ages and all times in their lives, and it can be absolutely devastating. Not everyone experiences post-traumatic stress to the level of the PTSD. However, there are consequences to these actions. The perpetrators, they take away the options, the choices, the freedom for people to choose what happens to their body, and that is wrong.
Several students took time to hear more about these myths and the resources available to would-be victims of sexual assault and the trauma that follows.
So when individuals come to see Title IX, sometimes they're not sure if I'm going to violate their rights and say, oh my gosh, you were sexually assaulted, okay, now we're going to launch this investigation, you have to participate, there's a hearing, blah, 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 blah. No, that's not how it works. When you and I get connected, the biggest piece I want to ensure that we address quickly, what do you need? What support do you need? What can we do for you? And so once we stabilize you, then you get to tell me how you want to address that situation.
Victims of sexual assault are often afraid or ashamed of reporting the crime because it won't remain anonymous if they decide to prosecute. However, should they speak up, it could prevent it from happening to someone else.
And so I help them gather everything, all the evidence, the police report, everything. I go over kind of what they would need in order for them to get that done. And then I also help them with legal services.
It's estimated that 1 in 3 women become victims of sexual assault in Utah. The national average is 1 in 4. Assaults also happen to men.
So this has changed throughout the time, and we're hoping that will encourage male survivors to come forward, because we're not just for women.
Regardless if the victims have been using substances during the incidents, the message is still that it isn't their fault.
I was a victim of sexual assault. I was drugged and gang raped at a party wearing something very similar to what's been displayed on the exhibit. And I didn't have the support or the resources to go get help. That isolation and that loneliness is never okay. Nobody should ever feel like they don't have a safe space to go to. And so it's so good to see Dixie provide this space and be so passionate about providing the resources, the education, and the support to students on the campus.
And setting boundaries is key when going on dates, especially on dating apps.
Whether it be a long-term relationship or it be a first-time date, what are my limits sexually? What am I okay with and what am I not okay with? And making sure we're expressing that to that partner, which sometimes that feels really weird and uncomfortable on a first date, like let's have a talk about sex. But it's important to express what our limits are with that partner so they're aware of what we're okay with.
We're all connected. Teresa, the Dove Center, the Booth Wellness Center, we exist to provide that framework of support so that you can be treated as an individual, you can decide what you want to do with your experience, and you could also come report without any expectation that we will take over your experience.
You can go to dovecenter.org. We have information. RAINN, RAINN.org is an excellent source for information. You need to know what to do if you've been sexually assaulted. You need to find a safe place.
The Women's Resource Center is holding more events this month on behalf of sexual assault awareness.
We have a film screening. It is on the 11th at 3 p.m. in the Dunford Auditorium, which is in the Browning Building, and it's called The Bystander Moment, and it's about transforming the culture, having people speak up. It doesn't matter your gender or your orientation, it's for everybody.
And the most important thing for all of us to remember is to start by believing. From Dixie State University, Melissa Anderson, Community Education News.